Hi guys, it's me again, FLYWITHMEFPV, and I want to talk about this quad that I built. There's really nothing special here. This is just a 5-inch quad. Majority of the parts, or some of the parts that I put in here, are spare parts that I already have that I'm not using, and some of them I bought, some of them, I got from SN Hobbies to be tested. Anyways, the idea of why I built it this way is that I don't really have a kind of cruising, long range, mid range kind of quad. So, I kind of built one specifically for that type of flying. So I'm gonna go to the parts and or the reason why I use this, I did that, or why I configured it this way, and then later I'll open this up and then go through the parts underneath. Uh, Specifically this one. This is a flight controller that I'm testing right now. SN Hobbies sent them to me for testing. It's an F4 flight controller. So anyways, now if you notice, this is an old IRC tramp video transmitter that I have. Nothing special about that. It's an Axie. This is actually one of the older ones, which is made of 3D printed cover. So anyways, in front you see here I have an FPV camera and a Caddx turtle. I used to have only a Caddx turtle, but decided to put in an FPV camera just for insurance. If I'm going to use this for long range or mid range, I don't want to, experience or encounter this locking up in flight, because that would be very disastrous. I'd probably lose the quad if it's really far away from me. So I decided to put a dedicated FPV camera. This one is just doing HD. Uh, the beauty of using this instead of a GoPro is the weight. Plus, I didn't even configure it, or I didn't even put the video cable in. It's just being powered by by the LiPo pack straight from. Oh, sorry, no. This one is configured to go to the ESC. It's a 12 volt BAC from from the ESC, and I'll go to that the type of ESC that I use when I open it up. Now, if you look at the side, it's quite a stack. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's not 4, it's 3. 1, 2, 3. This is just a spacer, or basically a. I bolted my Caddx into this plate here, which is included, by the way, when you get the Caddx turtle, and I bolted it on the plate with nylon spacers. That way, it doesn't really touch the plate, because the plate that Caddx provided is conductive. So I don't want to run into issues where it's just gonna short because for whatever reason, the board might touch this. So I made sure there's I don't know if you can see that, but there's spacers there. Those are not provided. What Caddx provided in the box is a metal spacer, so I didn't want to use them. Yeah, that's about it. And then this is the Flywoo F405 flight controller. I'll go into detail on how I wired this up. And then at the bottom is just a 4-in-1. That's a 35 amp 4-in-1 Razor Star ESC BL Heli 32. What else? Well, you can't see it here, but underneath these are race wires. These are not the original one. These are from RDQ, which is branded Joshua Bardwell. Now the motors, these are really old motors that I've used, years ago. It's an F60 Pro, 2500 kV. Now again, I might have used lower kV motors or different config, or maybe a 6-inch for mid-range, long-range. But again, the idea of this build is to build from what I already have and minimize the stuff that or gear parts that I need to buy. So anyways, I was able to put this all together. Bought the 4-in-1 ESC because if you notice, these arms are really skinny, although if I can't put a single ESCs in there. So, and then the flight controller SN asked me to test this, so I'm putting it on this build. Then the Caddx turtle just to give HD recording so that I could hopefully post or upload videos on my YouTube channel from flight footages of this build. Now, this is running on an R9M, so it's not a Crossfire. It's an R9M mini receiver that I have in there. You might not be able to see that, but yeah, that's not a Crossfire. This is the stock antenna. If you notice, this is just a barbecue skewer wherein I spread out the antenna this way. The ideal would be going vertical if you're going long range or on an L configuration, but that's very challenging in putting it cleanly and nicely on a quad. So I'm going for this configuration, and then I'll test it to how far I can go with this config. The idea is that because even if you're flying this way, you still have the elements facing from where you came from, and then when you fly back, it will actually be facing to. That's the idea. Now, if I'm gonna be using this for long range, mid range flights, I would try to avoid go flying this way and then your antenna on your TX is this way. That's the worst that you'll do. Might not be you can't avoid it, but I suggest if you're gonna turn really fast. Anyways, that's just my experience flying long range with planes. So polarization is key, and then separation from a transmit electronic equipment to a receive. But again, with the real estate that we have with quads like this, it's very limited. So I'll work with what I can do and see how that goes. Okay, yeah, so that's just a 35 volt 1000 UF capacitor, and I'm using one of those waffles underneath. You might not be able to see that, it's covered, but it's just a PCB to put in the leads, and it's clean like that. All right, so let's open it up, and I'll go talk about the flight controller that I am testing for SN Hobbies. Okay, I opened it up, and well, I removed the roll cage basically so that you get a better view of this flight controller that I'm testing for SN Hobbies. This is again a Flywoo FR05. If you notice, the gyro is sitting on a foam. There's a few flight controllers out there. Rotorite has one. Kakuta F4 is a more popular one, which does the same thing. Basically, it sits on a foam. Came with a box like this. This is the box, and from their website, you could actually order this with the other gyro, because you could actually get two gyros. One, both of them are from InvenSense, and one is the ICM 20689, which is what it came with, soldered, and on the box, this is I think this is for additional $5 you could get this. Retail price of this is $34.99 with one gyro, and then $39.99 with second gyro. So this one is the MPU 6000 gyro. I just don't know if you have the soldering skills to unsolder that and solder this. But anyways, that's, you could order one, or you could order for additional $5 with another gyro. So let's open it up. This flight controller has a barometer actually, and I'll flip it over. I hope you can see that. It has this. This is getting popular now. Well, it's kind of getting being a standard for flight controllers. It has this spin connector, wherein you could easily attach it to a 4-in-1 ESC that has similar connector, but you have to just pay attention to the pins, because there's no standard on the pin assignments on a 4-in-1 ESC and on a flight controller. So you have to really look into the manual and match them up. So this ESC is from RacerStar. This is the 35 amp BL Heli 32 Tattoo, I believe, that I used here. And yeah, this is the flight controller, Flywoo, and I'm gonna flip it back. By the way, it also came with this rubber standoffs for vibration absorption, but it doesn't come with that red one. Yeah, that one I put it in there just to get some height, because some of the wires are kind of tight underneath. So anyways, again, if you don't have the ability, or if you're not using a 4-in-1 ESC, the motors, the motor solder pads are here. It supports up to 8 motors. The flight controller supports, can accommodate up to 8S. And again, it has a barometer, 16 megabyte flash, so that when you do your black box logging, you can do it there. Not a bit, not too much, but at least you have some storage space. It also has a 5-volt and a 9-volt BEC. The 5 volts on this side. You could power on your camera. This is voltage. Video in. This is video out. It's ground, and the other pad here is for VTX control, which is pretty neat. Now on this side, it has. Oh, by the way, this flight controller supports 5 UARTs, which are very generous. So if you guys, and has a barometer for $34.99 or $39.99 USD with an additional gyro. So for you long-range folks that needs extra UARTs for your GPS or other stuff that you want to put in, might want to look at this flight controller. Now this side, oh, by the way, this is I'm using an R9M Mini receiver here, and what I like about how Flywoo did it is that all these pads are lined up on this side. The ground, 5 volts, your S-bus, and your smart port for telemetry. So it has it all in there. Now I read on the manual that if you needed to do and actually labeled SPT for smart port, which is really nice. This one came with a manual, not a very descriptive one, but it gives you a sense on what are the solder pads for. Yes, current sensing and all that other stuff. So again, for $34.99 or $40, you get a lot of UARTs, a barometer, 2 gyros, depends on which one you want to use, and in my opinion, a very good layout of the solder pads. So anyways, I've flown this once. This has been Maiden already. This is designed for like mid-range, I don't know, long range maybe. Now on this side is the USB, and this is what I like about this, because see that button, boot button, very easy to press, unlike those smaller ones wherein you actually need to use something to poke it with or to press it. But this one is on the side. It's just like a channel button for those old VTXs. So anyways, that's the Flywoo flight controller FR05. I will test this more as the weather gets better, and post more videos or feedback or what I think about it, how it performs. I'm not gonna use this rig for my typical freestyle flying. This is gonna be more of cruising, mid-range, maybe long-range flights. So that is what it's designed for. So I'm not gonna do some crazy flip rolls and all those Matty flips with this one. If you saw on the earlier part of the video how this is all put together with a 2-camera configuration, the antenna is actually like this, right? So again, I mean, I'm not expecting that. Even the tune of this one is not even my freestyle tuner rate. So this is specifically designed to be used for mid-range to long-range flights. All right, now, you saw this earlier too. I'm using a high volt HV tramp from Immersion IRC, and a Caddx S1. Sorry, no, yeah, it's Caddx S1 camera. So that's the major components of this rig. Oh, by the way, I'm using you can't see it here because I covered it with shrink tube, but underneath here is race wire. I think this is from RDQ, the JB or the Joshua Bardwell version. And I'm using these are old F60, well, not really old, but used F60 Pro from T-Motor, 2500 kV. I might change that as a use this and maybe try a lower kV, but this is not the final configuration when it comes to motors. I may or may not change the motor config on this one. Alright, so that is the setup of this rig that I'm gonna primarily be using for cruising, mid-range, long-range flights. Now guys, if you like what you've seen or watched, please do subscribe to my channel and make sure you click on that bell so that you get notified for the next videos that I upload on my YouTube channel. Alright, thank you, and till the next video.